Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I know the title says a reaction video, but it's really more of an analysis of Gabbie Hanna's new EP, Two-Way Mirror. And if you don't already know this, I am a Gabbie stana. I love Gabbie Hanna. She's the reason why I finally decided to start doing YouTube. And she's had a really big impact on me. So I'm not going to do a reaction because you already know my reaction. I love her video. And also, I don't have the editing ability to do like a little square where I'm showing the video, and I didn't want to deal with like demonetization or getting out of focus. Anyway, so the reason I wanted to do this analysis is because I see a lot of people interpreting this album about this relationship that she had. And yes, this album is about this relationship that she had. But one thing that I really love about Gabbie's music is that it always has dual meanings. And so I want to analyze this album completely from the perspective of her career and her relationship with her audience. And when I say her audience, I don't just mean like Gabbie Hanna fans. I mean all of the general public that watches her videos, from fans to haters to casual viewers, all sorts of people when I talk about her audience. So I'm not going to talk about the relationship side of these songs. I'm going to analyze them from the perspective of thinking about her relationship with her audience and YouTube and all of that in general. So I've seen a lot of really great analysis like in the comments about the songs, but I haven't really seen a lot analyzing it from this perspective. So I wanted to make this video because it's the part that speaks the most to me about her music, I guess. And also, this is not to say that her intent with releasing this song is anything that I'm saying it to be. This is just my interpretation, and that's sort of the beauty of art, is that we get to interpret it however we want and through our own lenses. Because I see a lot of people also in the comments being like, oh my god, I'm so bad at determining the meaning, but when in reality, the meaning is whatever you interpret it as, you know? It's not, there's no one right answer because it's art, and that's the beauty of creating art. So anyways, jumping into this album, first, as a whole, this album represents the ending of the Gabbie show. Right before she released this album, she changed all of her social media to Gabbie Hanna from the Gabbie Show. For those of you who don't know, the Gabbie Show was her name on Vine, and it's the name that she transferred over to YouTube under. And the Gabbie Show sort of represents this side of her, if you've watched any of her videos, that she doesn't necessarily relate to anymore. It's a younger self, not ecstatic, but like erratic, a lot angrier, very over dramatic, over the top. Not to say that she isn't still over dramatic. Hi, go watch her music videos. But just, it's a very different kind of theatrics. So the other really interesting thing about the album as a whole is that she's inserted these tracks in between each of her songs, so that it flows as if it was one song. Kind of like I don't know if you ever watched the Birdcage. So the Birdcage, the way it's shot to look like it was all filmed in one take. I think there's only one cutaway. So it's kind of like that, but with the music. Or if you are a life fan of Panic at the Disco, like I am, their first album also sort of did the same flow thing. But the cool thing about her album, that I don't necessarily think, because I've seen artists do this before, but I don't necessarily think they've done it in this way, where it's a complete loop. So if the last track, the last like interlude track, the last sound in that track leads in, it's like a phone tone, and it leads into the first track, or the first interlude track. Anyway, the significance of this also is that she obviously got her start on Vine, and Vine is known for like the looping of videos that repeat as you play them. So the other thing is just some common themes. I have my notes here, that's why I keep looking down. notes, is that Gabbie is currently in her Saturn return. I'll link something down below that's going to explain it way better than I'm about to explain it, but essentially Saturn takes 29 years to come back into the sign that it was when you were born, and so every 29 years it sort of represents turning into the next phase of your life. And it usually happens around like 28, 27. It depends on where your birthday is and when Saturn hits that sign that it was in when you were born. And so this is a usually really hard year because it's either a really hard or like a really awesome year or both, because you sort of reflect on the lessons from your childhood and relearn all of those lessons. So I think it's ironic that she's in her Saturn return. I don't even know if she knows this. This is just something I was watching Aphrodite's video and he mentioned it I was watching it last night. So I'll link that below if you're interested. He did a whole reading on Gabbie Hanna, which I thought was really interesting. And I would totally love to see them collab, but I don't know if that will ever happen. So anyways, I thought that was interesting because her album, Reflection, is really a theme. I mean, it's called 2-Way Mirror, like that's sort of like a blatant example. So it's the actual reflection. I think in Pillowcase she's talking about the reflection in the window. And so it's like sort of self-reflection, reflection on this relationship, or reflection on her career. And also just a lot of self-reflective thinkings. I feel like Medicaid is a really good example of that. But, so that's sort of like an overall analysis thing. I have the lyrics here, so I'm going to kind of skim through them, and I'm going to go song by song and just sort of give my analysis, as I said, based on her career. So, one more thing before I get started. I'm wearing her merch. I just wanted to call out that I'm wearing her merch. Bonkers. I like it because it makes me feel like I'm accurately labeled, because I'm bonkers sometimes. Anyways, let's get into this. So, I'm not going to talk about the interlude tracks individually. I'm just going to talk about the songs. I've kind of already went through what I had to say about the interlude tracks and talking about the loop. So the first song is Broken Girls. And so I feel like this is sort of a callback to her Roast Yourself video where she says, people love that I hate myself. People love to watch her because she's broken. And I think for some people it's like entertaining to watch people be a mess, but also some people it's like, I relate to this, you know. That's how it is for me. I feel like I relate to a lot of the struggles that she talks about, especially when it comes to the bits and pieces that she talks about her childhood. And so the lyrics are, you like broken girls because they make you feel put together. You love them sick, dig up all the ugly shit, and you offer up your remedy. So I only want to know your darkest secrets. This is sort of like the audience wanting more and more of her private life, because she puts so much of it out on the internet. You love them sick, dig up all the ugly shit. So people kind of looking for the bad in her, because it's clickable. And obviously you like broken girls because they make you feel put together. I feel like that those sort of lines kind of play into this idea that people love to watch broken people. I mean, just look at like even like A-list celebrities like Britney Spears. People love to watch the fall of Britney Spears. And I'm not about to go all leave Britney alone on you, but I love Britney Spears and leave her alone. Okay. And I like, so this, I will talk about this one interlude. I kind of like the Broken Boys interlude because it kind of recognizes that she has a role in this too. Like, she understands that she sees this in herself, so she gets why the audience feels this way about being attracted to her brokenness, because she is part of the problem too. So that's sort of my analysis there. So Butterflies is one of the tracks that has a music video out. I hope she posts music videos for all of them. I'm gonna analyze them some more, but this is one of the ones that is more heavily talking about the relationship with this boy. It's actually two boys, this particular song. But I think it can also relate to her relationship with her career, in that when she was starting out on Vine, she had like these butterflies. She was like scrolling to see the likes and the followers, and that sort of gave her these butterflies. But in the end, like, as she sort of came to, she realized the reality of the situation. So the line that I feel like most relates to her YouTube experience in Butterflies is, "But instead I'll write a song." So she's talked about how she's currently in like this transitional phase, where she is moving from this more story time comedic aspect of her career into focusing more on music. So I feel like "But instead I'll write a song" represents that transition, because she's literally writing songs instead of doing story time. She's making her tragedy a work of art, which we'll get to later. And also, I feel like, going back to my first comment, new situation with low expectations, I feel like that was sort of her start on Vine, because I don't think she ever expected it to become what it became. But you still managed to let me down. It's the end of Vine. So that's sort of my interpretation of that. And also, this particular song has a music video. At the end of the music video, you hear clapping and applause, and she takes a bow. And I feel like that also represents the end of the Gabbie show, because it's the end of a show. And then the end of the music video, spoiler alert, leads into the beginning of the Perfect Day music video, which is her next song. So let me pull that up real quick. Okay, so Perfect Day is one of the most straightforward tracks, because it's telling a story of something that actually happened to her. How this relates to YouTube and her career and all of that is in the formatting. It follows the traditional story time format that she is trying to move away from by expressing these things through song instead of being blatant and angry about them. She's creating them into art. So that's the biggest takeaway from Perfect Day, is that it's a callback to her story time. I'd also like, so this is a real story that happened in the song. Spoiler alert, she talks about how she gets out of the shower and she sees "I love you" written in steam in the mirror. And she originally thinks it's this boy that she's with. But then she realizes it's a girl's handwriting and it's not her handwriting. And that's sort of the big twist in the song. So I feel like, so this is something that really happened, but I feel like it's also a metaphor for YouTube comments, because at the time that all of this was happening, she was the time that she was a part of the big monster meme scandal thing. It's not really like a scandal, but so this is something that actually happened, but I feel like it's also a metaphor for what was happening after the monster meme, because there was sort of a wave of hate that surrounded Gabbie Hanna and all of her videos after the monster meme happened. It sort of became a trend to hate on her. So I feel like in the part of the song where she thinks the "I love you" is written for her, it's sort of and then it transitions into realizing that it's actually something truly heartbreaking. I feel like it represents that transition of her comment section from being a lot of her fans to being a lot of hate and turmoil and heartbreak. So that is how I feel about that. I think the line, "What did I do to deserve this?" is also really telling of her career, because in the beginning, It means like, oh my gosh, I have this great thing. What did I do to deserve this? I feel like that is sort of also a reflection of how she feels about her career. Like, what did I do to deserve the fame and recognition that I have? And then at the end, it means something very different. So it's like, after this wave of hate, like, what did I do to deserve all of this hate? Um, so that's my reflection on that. Also, in Perfect Day, the music video, she's sitting on this chair, and so a lot of people have connected that chair to be the relationship. But I think it also represents her position in front of the audience, or her the Gabbie show. It's a representing of her putting on the Gabbie show. And so at the end of that video, she's not just abandoning that relationship, she's sort of pushing away this person that she was. She's pushing away the Gabbie show, and it's another example of the end of the sort of theatrical Gabbie show that she's trying to move away from. So now we move into Pillowcase. First of all, it's a freaking bop. I love it so much. I feel like it doesn't get enough recognition, but how this relates to her relationship with YouTube, and this is more about the YouTuber community. The first verse is, I don't want to come to your party, but I want your invitation. But I want the invitation, excuse me. It kind of represents like, she doesn't want to be a part of, I don't know how to say this, because it's not necessarily like a negative thing, like I hate this certain group of people, but she doesn't want to be a part of this community where the lines between friendship and a work relationship are really blurred. She wants to have authentic friendships and wants people around her who genuinely want to be around her and be her friend. But at the same time, she still wants to be a part of this community, and a lot of the people that she is genuine friends with are a part of this community. So I feel like that first line kind of plays into those like almost conflicting feelings surrounding that. Really like the feel of being lonely, but I'm desperate for attention. Trust me when I tell you not to touch me, but I'm craving your affection. I feel like this also is a callback to some of the things that she said in her Roast Yourself video. The desperation for attention online, because it's also like a part of her job. But at the same time, like, this chase for online attention can be really isolating. But it still feels good because you're getting that validation and affection and all of that. Right. And then in the bridge, she says, "Our reflection on my window pane." Again, the theme of reflection. Obviously, in this, it's talking about looking at her and him in the reflection of the window pane and not liking what she's seeing. But it's also like self-reflection. Like, I keep going back to the Roast Yourself video where she's like, but I feel like it's the time that she's been most open about her YouTuber career, and it makes it easier to sort of provide a lens to analyze these songs through. So our reflection on my window pane is talking about, like, when she says, "Who am I and when?" It's like, who am I in the window? Who have I become? Even at the end, she says, "What have I? What have I?" Which kind of could lead into both what have I done and what have I become. So there is that. All right, so now we move into Medicaid. This one's been out for a while, so I've had a little bit more time to kind of analyze this. So I feel like a lot of this talks about her relationship with her audience and some of the things that I talked about earlier, like that sort of transition into this wave of hate that sort of fell on her for a while there. And so I feel like in the beginning, she's almost talking to her fans like, "I've been well, thanks for asking, don't mind me because I'm just passing by in this life." I think that's sort of like her feelings that her fame is really fleeting in the end. And then she's sort of talking to her audience, like, do you miss me? Because I'm still thinking about you. I'm still thinking about um, the people that actually care about me in my audience. And I really like this song, not necessarily related to the career aspect that we're talking about today, but I feel like her conflicted feelings about medication and mental health are really reflective of some of the things that I feel as well. I think also in the bridge, when she talks about give yourself a break, um, it kind of signifies a lot of people being like, hey, all of this is happening to you right now. It's okay to take a little bit of a break. And I think she did for like a short while there, to kind of collect herself. And I think um, that shows a lot of growth. Um, and not related to the career thing, but I just feel like it needs to be said. Like in the chorus, she's talking about, can you medicate a broken heart? Like sometimes, especially those who have struggled with mental health for a long time, like myself, like Gabbie, um, it's sort of like, is this my mental illness talking, or am I actually just going through something traumatic and reacting in a way that anyone would react to this traumatic situation? Is medication really going to fix this, or do I have to actually deal with the emotions that I'm feeling and process them, and give it time? And of course, I love, love, love Make Your Tragedies a Work of Art. Um, Watch me make my tragedies a work of art in my Gone Too Soon video, which I will link down below. And I think that's all I have to say about Medicaid. It's been out for a while, so I feel like it's the one. Like, I've already gone through my Medicaid phase, and now I'm like engulfing myself in all the other songs. Um, Also, one last thing that I want to touch on is Medicaid obviously also has a music video. I love that the chairs are in a circle, um, like a group therapy session almost. Obviously, like I've already talked about, the chair sort of represents both the relationship and sort of her career in front of a camera, like her putting on the performance. Um, and so in the video, there's sort of like this manic and depressed side, and they both represent different sides of her performance, coming together. And I think the more, even though it's a manic side, I feel like it sort of also represents her music. And so she's sitting there in this group therapy session, but no one's there to really listen to her until the end, when she's there for herself, to provide this means to process the tragedies in her life through music. Okay. Obviously, this track is about the boys saying goodbye for now so that they can take time to heal. But it's also saying goodbye to the Gabbie show. So in the first verse, she talks about start over, get to know each other, make a first impression, because it turns out I don't know you that well. I think she's talking about her YouTube career here, trying to make a new impression with her music to show who she is now, versus the person that she's known for. But if I keep trying in this moment, I know it'll surely be the end. If she keeps trying to pretend to be this person that she's not anymore, it's going to be the end of her, because she's not going to be passionate about the work that she's doing anymore. I'm tired of feeling like the bad guy, and you're tired of making me cry. I feel like is a reference, or it could be. It's not for sure. I kind of mentioned that at the beginning of this video, but I feel like it's a reference to sort of the position that she was put in when she was in this wave of hate. Like, no matter what she did, she was always a bad guy, and people were like tired of seeing her cry, being tired of making me cry. So I feel like that's sort of a reference to the realization that something needed to change. I could work on myself. It's kind of scary. The future's so unclear. These are some of her feelings going into this new phase of her career. There's so much to say. We're so damn different. Fought through the pain, didn't make a difference. Drives me insane how you're so indifferent, and I don't want to waste your time. So I feel like this is almost a letter to the audience that she's losing by changing her format and changing her content up. Fighting through the pain is fighting through that wave of hate that we've discussed. I don't want to waste your time making content that I'm not passionate about. Okay, one more thing that I wanted to add to this is that that I kind of realized after I had filmed this video, the Goodbye for Now track is supposed to allude to the fact that it's not a true goodbye. So, I mean, and that's shown in the fact that the album loops back after this song. It's like a cycle of being stuck in this relationship. And I think that cyclical feeling is something that transfers over into her career as well. And also the Goodbye for Now not being a true goodbye kind of represents that the Gabbie Show will always be a part of who she is and her career, because it's what built her up to this point. Okay, that's all, I promise. So yes, so this is really long. Hopefully I don't have too much to cut out. So that's my sort of analysis. You don't have to agree with me. This is just the interpretation of my art through my understanding of the things that she's created. So anyways, I'm also interpreting it through my own lens, so you don't have to agree with me on any of this. This is just sort of my interpretation, and it was something fun that I wanted to do for a little video. So if you enjoyed this, thank you for watching. I'm going to put a link to Gabbie Hanna's album down below. Please go check it out. It's so good. It's so artistic and meaningful, and I really appreciate it as an art form. It's not typically the type of music that I listen to, but I really appreciate Gabbie Hanna as a creator, and so I feel like it means a lot more to me because of that. So thank you for watching. Also, as I mentioned in my last video, I am going to VidCon, where I will see Gabbie Hanna perform at VidCon. What? I'm super duper excited. I'm trying to save up money to make sure that I don't put myself in a bad position by going. So if you can, please check out my Poshmark. Also, I think by the time I've uploaded this video, I will also have a new article on Vocal. If not, that's awkward. But go check me out there. Your views help me out a lot on Vocal, and you can also add to my Vocal tip jar there. So thank you again for watching. Follow me on all my social medias. I have a Facebook page now, Kate Chessy. Just look me up on Facebook. You can follow me there. I have Instagram, Kate by the Pound. Twitter, Kate by the Pound, all that good stuff. Pinterest, whatever you want to follow me on. Yeah, thank you for watching. Peace. Okay, bye. Guys, I bet you thought you were done with me. It's really hot in my car, so I'm gonna try to speed this up, but I have a friend, Kat, who just started a blog. I'm really excited for her, so I'm going to link it down below. Please go check it out. And then my friend Holly, who I've talked about before on this channel, just put up a new blog post, so I will link that below as well. All right, peace.